all the way here, but that's mitigated. Now, which low made this? Well, technically, I mean, which high made this? This high. Okay? This would be the mentfx block in this specific case. Now, on a lower time frame, you could go and make arguments for this being the mentfx block. And if you saw a break of this, you could trade it. That's fine. There's mentfx blocks within mentfx blocks. But on this specific time frame, under the specific order flow that we're watching, this is the move that caused this. So structurally, you're looking for this to be validated, for this to be valid. Notice what happens. Okay, so we actually get a lower move. This is your whole mentfx block. Let's wait for it to get validated. Does it get validated? Validated. Now, same thing happens. If we get a pullback that's at least into these areas here, in my mind, basically, to fill some stuff, we know that we can count this high to whatever happens as a new mentfx block. Let's see if that happens. That, right? There should be no question about, does this count? Yes, no shit, right? Now, if it did just this low right here and then went higher to validate this, again, that is a mentfx block on a lower time frame. On this specific one, where we're looking at multi-orders being added to the market, we have to be aware that this could easily come lower. So at this point, this is now almost a validated one, right? Because it only becomes validated when it comes above here. But we can be looking for buys in here because we're expecting this one to hold above this low. Okay, looking for this to be taken. This is actually why I also had a buy here, as you can see. Looking for highs to be taken. High gets taken. Now, again, this, oh, it didn't mitigate it, so it doesn't count anyway. But we're expecting now, okay, well, price just took off. But same thing goes. That's the mentfx block. Now, price can now come all the way back down into here on this specific time frame. However, at the same time, due to this right here, this large impulse of orders before this continuation up, we have added in a new ment block. This is a mentfx block, and this is valid too. And now, this is validating it. Which point validated that? This one. So if we want to see another one, it should come to take this out. And as you can see, I actually had areas. This is where we're looking for buys. Actually, there were beautiful buys here on a 1 minute. I remember I didn't take them, but I'll show you them just so you guys understand that, you know, this works over and over. What do you see here? Wyckoff. Okay, it's a little bit uglier. You can find it better on a higher time frame. But also, what time frame were we on? 15? What were we on? I forgot. Yeah, we were on a 15 minute. Let's do our rule actually instead of doing that really quickly. So 15 minutes. Let's find, because we can't divide that by 30. Actually, we can. So 15 minutes divided by 30 is 0.5. Right, so we have to look at a 0.5 minute chart. What is that? 30 seconds. So we look at a 30-second chart for confirmations now. Okay, it won't always work, but we have that lower zone, right? Look what we have in here. You can look at either starting with this impulse or this one, right? Either one work. This could be a preliminary support. I mean, this could be your selling climax. SC, AR, ST, SOS, STB. Wait for the breaks, or just get involved on the mentfx blocks on a lower time frame. Wait for the breaks. The breaks happen. Now, this is choppy price action. So you have to ask yourself, if there is a break here, how can I get involved? Well, this looks like there could be orders in here that are unmitigated, but also if we go to a 1 minute time frame, for instance, where was it? There it is, right? You can start to notice the impulses that started the breaks, right? Now, the impulses that started the breaks, you could argue when this got broken came from here, right? But most importantly, the major break that happened came from the areas here. Now, again, even though structure is technically on this time frame doing a little something like this and then breaking back down here, I mean, first of all, you could have traded structure. As you can see, there's beautiful cells up here that took you all the way back down into here, I believe. Yeah, there you go. But you also have to realize that structure isn't all we're trading. We're not just structure traders. We're order flow traders. And we understand that if this is an accumulation, this is where it can come back to test. Now, if we don't like the fact that this is such a, you know, mitigated area or whatever, and we don't know if we're going to buy here, you could just do what? My mentfx block is valid at this point. So I'm just going to enter the open or the 50%. Same thing we've taught before. Right? And then you can target, for instance, let's go to, let's actually replay this a little bit. So let's be fair about this. 5 minute. Real areas that you can expect price to come into. So this can be up to you, right? If you were to target, for instance, these supply zones up here, that's only a 1 to 1.4. Maybe you don't like that. But what you could do, what I would probably do is liquidity, areas unmitigated. That would be my first target, right? So you can have partial 1, partial 2, unmitigated, right? And then completion at new highs. Since that's so close, maybe you get rid of partial 2 and just say you're going to break even at that point, right? Play it out, right? Price comes in, first partial met, you're at break even, you hit break even, right? Now, this trade, that sucks that it hit break even after, only ran a little bit, but you allow it the chance to run further, right? That's how this works. You're not always going to hit crazy RRs. Our gold, why did we run whatever that was this week? What did we hit on it? I don't even fucking remember. Oh, it was only 1 to 7. I thought it was more because I thought I entered smaller, but it wasn't. But the fact that this one works so well, right? Also, this could have, like if any of you remember, this could have easily ran into the areas I was actually looking at it to run into, which was up here. That's a 1 to 18. Now it doesn't look so bad. In this case, it ran only, what was this? 1 to 7.57. But at the beginning of the week, remember this one right here? It ran 1 to 50. 1 to fucking 50 on a counter trend. Why do we trade counter trend? Because we understand that we're not actually in a structure. We're trading orders, okay? We're not trading structure, we're trading orders. Structure is part of seeing how order flow is moving and part of confirming things with Wyckoff. However, structure is not the end-all be-all. The orders are, okay? And we're flexible about them. That's why we partial the way we do. And then even though this is 1 to 50, you know, partial, and then it came to a hit, break, not break even, but a trail, I think at this one. I think I had this high or this high. I forget which one I had, one of these. Doesn't really matter. And then it came to hit it with this impulse back up, right? And then I looked for a buy back up into this area. If you remember that as a counter trend, I actually looked for partials here because I thought that we could get up into here. Instead, it went up. I broke even after this break right here of the structure, and it broke even, which is fine, right? But if you partialed it even earlier, you know, like even where, like maybe here, that's a 1 to 1.8, 1 to 4. It ran 1 to, oh, it only ran 1 to 4.45, whatever, doesn't matter. So that was just a break even, right? That's how you can look at a market. Go back to XRP. Oh yeah, so now we're in this ment block. Again, we had this one here. It never got mitigated. Oh wait, it did. It did get mitigated. My bad, I'm dumb. It got, oh, because it was on a 15-minute. On a 15-minute, it didn't get mitigated, right? Yeah, it didn't. Okay, yeah, so remember that. You have to be working with multi-time frames. On a 15-minute, it get mitigated, but then another one got made. So you can use that one. It's valid, right? Because you know that even though there are orders here that probably need to be mitigated, and they will be mitigated in the future, this right here, because of the impulse in it and the fact that it took out the liquidity here, allows us to believe that price, if it does break higher, is putting in new structure, mentfx block-wise, to continue this move, right? See that? Looking at that. We're about an hour in, but let's work through some questions. I went a little slow. Holy shit, we got a few questions, eh? So let's kind of work through them a little quicker, but I'll make sure that you guys are all understanding and all good. If I don't cover something, please drop it in webinar questions. I'll have to like literally go and make my own private video for you guys on the webinar questions because we never get around to them because I just go off on shit. But let's look through some stuff. Do you ever take Elliott wave theory into consideration during trades? No, I do not. I do some Elliott on stocks, but honestly, it's only if you want to hold really long. I don't use it for currencies at all, and you don't need to use it. You can go research it. It's interesting. It's fun. I'll maybe have a webinar where we can cover it in the future, definitely. But no, I do not take it into consideration for any trades. I don't think about impulses, pullbacks, anything of that sort. I think about orders, how they're being created, how they're being manipulated, how they might be manipulated, and where I can expect accumulation to get in or distribution, right? In this case, I'm just looking at this right now, so it's bullish, so accumulations, right? He has a YouTube video speaking on that. Yes, I do. If you have a ment block and price breaks and goes higher and never test, how you look in this on waiting for the test? Are you going to a higher time frame? Beautiful. So I'm happy I just went over this like 30-minute, 40-minute mentfx block session. Hopefully that answered your question, Piotr. It's 4 months ago. Maybe he has some new thoughts about it. I don't know. What about what? Let's see. Oh, Elliott wave. I see. Yeah, it's good. It works if you do it right. Anything works if you do it right, but Elliott is really cool. I have a friend of mine that trades only Elliott, and he only does stocks. It does not work for currencies. It doesn't hold long-term for currencies. It does hold short-term if you want to look at the, you know, impulse, retracement, ABC, impulse, retracement, ABC, impulse, and then maybe a bigger correction, and then sometimes it'll just completely fall apart, right? And then it'll restart. So I don't use it at all. Are you aware of NFP? Are you avoiding NFP? I avoid NFP just because I don't like the fact that spreads sometimes widen insane amounts. Sometimes brokers malfunction. Sometimes there's too many orders. People are going crazy during those times. I just think it's gambling sometimes because of that reason. If I knew that the broker would never have an issue, everything could be closed, spreads wouldn't raise to go to shit fucking city, I'd do it. I don't mind. It's 100% fine. Because again, news does not predict the market. The market is already moving in the way that it wants to go, and is going to go and use the news as a catalyst to fill in prices, to take out liquidity, to complete accumulations, to complete distributions, whatever it may be, right? So if I use the 1 minute as my main, I need to go on the 0.03 second chart. Yeah, basically. So 1 minute is 60 seconds, divided by 30. on a 2-second chart. 2-second chart. Not that bad. 5-second chart couldn't work, right? There you go. And you've seen me trade the 5-second off a 1-minute zone. That's how, and that's why I do it. And that makes sense with the rule of 30. It's just a little harder. You have to kind of start to see things. And then when you do that, your brain goes insane. All right, Sebastian got our meme of the week. If you don't follow me on Instagram, you should follow me. I posted some of them in my on my Insta page. Stop using mem blocks or draw 25. Nice. Beautiful. Does this save? I don't think it saves, does it? Let me go save this. Let's set this up. Get this? Can I not rename stuff? Hello? I guess I can't. Whatever, it's fine. We'll just put it in here. There we go. Thank you for that, Sebastian. We love that. Meme of the weeks. We love them. We spoke about the percentages of partials. Takes 50%. Takes 50%. You guys know. Can I get a quick definition of the rule of 30? Want to write it down? All right, Woodrow. I said it at the beginning, but I'll say it again for you. Get your pen out right now. Rule of 30. Based on the time frame you're on, go 30 divided by 30 and find the time frame of 30 things less. Actually, no, you know what? Fuck that. I can't explain it without looking at the chart. Rewatch this video when it's up, and you'll have a perfect written rule for it. But rule of 30 is whenever you have a POI, like a supply zone on a certain time frame, like a 15-minute time frame. Actually, let's do 30-minute because it's easier. A 30-minute time frame. If you're looking to confirm this POI right here, for instance, right? So you might have drawn. Let's fucking do this. So you might have drawn this one out at the time of the confirmations of this zone. Oh, come back. Come back. The confirmation of the zone should be 30 time frames lower than it, right? So a 30-minute, if you divide that by 30, is 1 minute. So you need a 1-minute chart. So to confirm this, you go to a 1-minute chart, you go inside it, and you watch price as it gets there. So it got here again, but you'd use this one right here, right? And you could, if you wanted to, use the accumulation that occurred here, the mentfx block that formed as a result to take entries, wait for new mentfx blocks to be validated here, and take entries off those. In this case, did it work? Oh, it did work. Thank God. That would suck if it didn't, right? Oops. But if you notice this, you had ment block, validated, never came for a real pullback, started the real pullback here. You're valid to go for buys anywhere in there, right? Once it's there. You could even go off the open here. Notice, never hit the low. We'll draw it out to show you, just to make, actually, we'll do it with a thing, so you know. Oh shit, it did hit the low. Oh, no, it didn't. It's this one. There we go. Never hit the low. As you can see, wherever you took that buy is fine. If you use the last possible demand zone, fantastic. And then we're running, and we just got above first partials, basically, if you were to take this, right? And if you waited for the confirmation inside here, then, you know, since you're on a 1-minute chart here, and you might have had certain areas here, just like that. What's the 30-second rule? 1 minute is 60 seconds, right? Because you can't do 1 minute divided by 30. It's confusing. You have to get on a 0.03 minute, but it's 1 minute is what? 60 seconds. 60 seconds divided by the 30 rule is a 2-second chart. So in this case, you'd get on like a 5-second, right? Go inside here. Rule of 30. Notice what price does. You might have actually gotten tricked by this right here. So we can take a look though. You have price coming down, forming some stuff, create some mentfx block right here. If you use double mentfx block, you would not be tricked because this never formed a second one. But if you use this one, you would have had a buy order right here or at 50%. Boom, that gets taken out. And then you have a new one forming, gets made here. If you want to use that, has a substantial enough pullback. You don't know if this is legit, so this is something that's interesting. mentfx block begins the pullback, doesn't get 50%, but because it takes off here and makes a high this big and starts breaking real structure, you can now count this from here to here as a ment block, right? Or you can use this high to this low. Either one is valid. You can see both of them got respected as the low. So let's just use the original one that I drew just because that's fair, because that's the one I saw first, right? You have your buy preset, just like that. Just below the low. Below it, always below a low, because we can have 100% mitigations, right? Don't forget that, guys. That's a big thing, right? Targeting. Now we get a little bit higher so we can see what the target. I don't want to see price though. Okay, good. Oh, sorry. There we go. Here we go. Zoom out a little bit. Again, we know we have a lot of liquidity here, but where's the most liquidity? Follow this along. Kind of everything's filled except for this area here. So if commissions and spread allows it to be profitable, you know, you can take partials here. Otherwise, you want to see this come maybe for the inefficiencies here, right? You could just target like 50% of this, like that. Oh wait, this one is the failure. You target this 50%, just like that. And that's already a 1 to 6.7, right? And we hit that there. Lock in at break even. Lock in at break even. And we're up, you know, 1 to 17 on that. So if you just waited for this, then you get that. Otherwise, if you didn't wait for it and you didn't confirm, which is why I always confirm, by the way, guys, if you use the open, that only ends up 1 to 0.93. If you use the 50%, that ends up at about 1 to 2.79, right? So hopefully that shows you guys like the numerous ways you could have entered this, right? It's not like there's only one way to enter an opportunity. And that said, even though these were the opportunities, there's a shit ton more in here, right? If you all saw, or if you just look, you can see the Wyckoff in here, the breaks above, the validations, the moves back in, validations, the moves back in to test those double mentfx block entries, continuations, right? There's tons of ways to get in on these. Wyckoff here, maybe you use it, break away, maybe you get involved here, partial at some highs, hits you a break even, comes back down, takes some lows, maybe a schematic there on a lower time frame. I really don't see an entry there. But, you know, go through price and ask yourself, how could I have gotten involved? Would I have gotten involved? And be fair about it. Like, there's no point to lie to yourself. Because if you're like back testing or forward testing and you see price, you can't just be like, oh yeah, I would have just taken this one. I wouldn't have taken this one. This one was bad, right? Go back like I just did. Ask yourself, did this move the way I would want it to move to take an entry? Right? In this case, it did. So I would have taken one right there, and that would have instantly literally hit stop loss. But that's fine. That's how trades move. That you're not always going to be with the orders. You're not always going to get in perfectly. And Wyckoff isn't always going to work out the way you want it to, because sometimes there's a bigger prerogative behind what smart money wants to do. Want to take a partial? Why does it open a new trade? Because you're probably doing something wrong. If you have a trade open, just double click on the lot size if this is an all MetaTrader, and type in a lot size that's smaller than the lot size you have open and click close instead of click sell or buy. Otherwise, I'm not 100% sure. Maybe drop a screenshot in Discord and we'll take a look at that. How are you getting on with section 4? We're just chilling, nothing crazy. It's section 4 is more so undecided. Like, it's decided. I want to talk about the fact that we are zone traders, right? That's basically one of the most important things. You need to start with understanding structure and start understanding supply and demand, but then you need to kind of almost break away to understanding that we're working with orders and not actual structure, right? Because I mean, you guys have all seen it happen. I'm almost 100% sure. Higher high, higher low, higher high, potential higher low, liquidation. You think it's a break of structure, continuation, right? If you understand zone trading and the fact that we're just creating liquidity, this is to you still looks like this. If you're not, then to you this looks like a structure break and you're beginning to get worried and flustered about where it's going, right? This is why just a tiny understanding between the fact that we're trading mitigations of certain areas that have not been mitigated, as well as liquidations as part of multi-level structure, is what's going to make that like next step for you, which is why I kind of covered it in this specific webinar. Weekly forecast. Fuck. Sure, let's do a quick one. Gold. 4 hour. What have we been doing on this? Oh, yeah. Still expecting, as you know, from the start of the week, we're expecting it to get up here. I still want to look for sells up here. However, I think those will be more short term. I do not like the fact that we have equal lows here. Relatively equal. It was a larger mitigation. That's fine. More likely than not, I will look for buys here in these areas if price gets here. Very small area, so very easy to know very quickly if it wants to hold there or not. Otherwise, short-term sells from here to get into those zones or into other zones created by new price action. Right now, specifically, nothing crazy. We just had a liquidation of this low. We have a ton of liquidity resting like here. We just liquidated this, so honestly, at the start of the week, I think it might just do a little oop-dee-da, something like that. Maybe we get it to come all the way back down into here, take out the liquidity below all of these lows. It could happen. But ultimately, again, zones. We are bullish short term. Expecting this bullish leg to get a higher low here to continue in here. And at that point, we'll see what happens. But from the start of the week, I was bullish on this, and the bullish plays were perfect, even to the completions. Other than that, daily, yeah. Overall, as you can see, I'm still expecting much lower prices. I want to see these equal lows now get taken. all these lows here get taken, potential buys from here, but overall, I want to see all of these lows get taken all the way down into these zones. So I do think it wants to be very bearish. If we don't see this bearishness, right, and it does get above here, I'm more likely than not going to expect price to make its attempt to run for the supply zones up here. So if we are to see, you know, something like this, I'm going to begin to expect either this, right, to then come all the way back down here, or just, you know, smaller ones. But all those new zones will function as areas that I'll look for buys in. And again, over the week, I'll send out updated supply and demand zones that I'm actually going to be looking at. So, well, we'll do that. That's your tiny little weekly forecast for the day. Maybe I'll release a private video for you guys later this week or something, or just a weekly forecast of either next week or this week, because I know that I've been promising to do some weekly forecasts, so I think it's important that you guys get a little bit of that. But you know, I do send out quite a bit of forecasts on stuff, right? Like, I'll send out stuff like this all the time, and you should be able to look at something like this and understand why I'm forecasting it the way I am, right? And you can look at it and then just work with it. We do this on everything, right? Where was gold when we sent that out? Was this gold? Definitely bullish on gold overall. Yeah, so if you remember, start of the week, we took the sell down into these areas. After this area was met, I was telling you that I was just bullish on this as fuck, and we had those bullish plays that ran much higher. I think I took a sell here as well. No, actually, I don't think I did. Maybe I did, but that was a -1 definitely, if I did. Is supply and demand zone 2.0 only considered when it's created on the same time frame? For example, on H1, or if price comes to the initial. Yeah, I think it's better to use them on the same time frame. But I don't even think about them as supply or demand zone 2.0s anymore. Like, it's just a supply and demand zone that's created off another one for me at this point. Like, and it can be inside or outside, right? So if this time frame had one that came in, you know, maybe come liquidate these lows here and then break higher, that's for me a I guess you could call that demand zone 2.0. So it's specifically on this time frame, because on a lower time frame there's going to be tons in here that are left behind. Those don't all count as supply and demand zone 2.0s unless they're off the previous one, right? Unless they're off the previous one, just like that. All right, let's take a look what we got here. If asked it before, but like, at what point has a trade moved too far for you to remove the order? Fuck, I use my eyes for that. I have no rule for it. It's like, you need to understand how orders are being made in and out of the market, right? So again, we're not structured traders, but based on how far it moves, like that mentfx block rule I spoke about earlier, right? The fact that it moved so far and then created a real liquidation, what you could imagine to be a real new institutional low, right? Because institutional structure is different than normal structure, as you will recall in the in section 1. Then you need to already assume that, you know, your buys are not going to hold. You don't want to still have those buys. Now on the other end, let's say you have an area, Wyckoff comes in, maybe happens, right? Wyckoff comes in, occurs, right? You have liquidation. Then you have something like this at this point, and then you maybe have something like this, right? At this point, I still consider this valid. Why? Because this was like, I want to be structured, but I don't. It's not normal structure. Order flow is still here. If there's really going to be a pullback and a continuation, it can still occur, right? Because all it's doing is it's creating, you know, maybe a creek or whatever you want to call it, just an area where many orders are being placed and liquidations of them. So I would still consider that. But if, for instance, something like this happened, right? I'm done. Right? Even less than that. It doesn't have to be that much. Like, I'm done. I'm not interested in this. It's still possible that it does this now, but at that point you're just in your little fucking megaphone pad. I don't even know what people call that. Like, it's just, there's no point to try to be involved in it. Like, you have to ask yourself, does it make sense for orders to still be there, to not only be there but also get mitigated and to also continue in the direction you're choosing? Or was the top side of things that you were expecting to be met already been met, and is there any point to taking it, right? It's just something that you'll train your eyes to see. It's just, I don't have a rule for it. There's no rule for it, honestly. When you take a partial, you want to go into the close. Yeah, so you got him on that. Nice. How can we know if price will fill the inefficiency? We don't use breakers at all. So first thing I'm going to tell you is go and rewatch and watch section 1, section 2, and section 3, because we have multiple ways to do this. And how do you know? You don't always know. They're footprints. And how do you know if you want to get involved at those areas? Confirmation, whether it's mentfx block or Wyckoff. But watch the sections. And we don't talk about breakers. We don't use them at all. You can use them. They're fine, but I see no use in them at all. Okay. We don't know where price will come to fill. We can only anticipate. Exactly. Very good. Lower time from the Wyckoff. Tell more. I'm totally new to Forex. What does mitigated or unmitigated mean? Well, I guess I never kind of covered that in the private. You should watch the order block video on YouTube for understanding mitigations on mitigations. But mitigations, actually, you can also watch section 1 because I talk about the idea of mitigation there. Is price coming into an area where there was some kind of institutional buying or selling and sacrificing of capital for the sake of grabbing liquidity. And basically, we move back there to close those orders. And when we close those orders, we call that mitigated, because what's happening is those orders not being closed at a profit or a loss; they're being closed at break even to meet a higher prerogative, right? To meet some kind of what's it called? Idea that the composite man wanted to execute, pretty much. What can help us to have a higher probability of anticipation? All right, Jay, you got him. Experience, exactly. The public YouTube is my favorite. Thank you. Watch everything. Yes, guys, definitely watch everything. And backtest chart time will massively help you. Yeah, definitely. If you guys have seen, I'm just gonna call out the name because I think he's a fantastic student, doing absolutely amazing, and has fucking been killing it. Vetsky is just on another level. He actually took time to backtest. He's backtested over, I believe, like, okay, I don't think this is true, but I'm gonna exaggerate it for new people. He did 80 hours a week easily, and now he's a fucking pro. So go study for 80 hours a week. I failed my FTMO verification due to psychological factors. How do you eliminate emotional trading? You do not, but you ease it, and sometimes you can eliminate it with confidence. And confidence only comes from one, repetition, which you can find in either watching the course content, watching the public YouTube videos and putting them together, or best of all, get on a chart, begin to backtest, and don't use real money until you fully understand what your edge is, how you're going to trade it. And at that point, you should never be a question of, what am I going to do when I enter this? Whether it's $1 million or $10. What is your advice for FTMO? Do it only when you're ready. So same answer from the last guy, only do FTMO or any prop firm or even a large live account when you are ready. Whether that means, honestly, take $100. No, don't do that. I'm not making you do anything with real money. Go make a $1,000 demo account. $10,000 doesn't matter. And see if you can trade 100 trades in it without blowing your account. Just trade 100 trades and record them under a specific strategy. Okay? You can do that. Show the group, and then I'll make a decision whether you're potentially ready or not. Will there be a section or a video about hedging? Yeah, definitely. I'll speak about hedging either next week or something. But we'll definitely talk about hedging. I know it's something that's important, and I actually hedged this week. But to make it simple, if you do want to go and start experimenting, let's say you have an expectation like so. Okay, price comes in here, you buy. Okay, let's say this is a higher time frame. You buy in here. Okay, so you have a buy order. Price begins to go up. However, as it begins to go up, it stops at this supply zone. Now, it's probably going to come down to either here or here. So what you do is you wait for the anticipation, right? And you sell partial, right? And then maybe have a trail. As this keeps going up, you close all the sells. So the sells made you money, but now your buy is still not closed. And the buy you partialed here can now be taken to much higher time frames, to much higher price action. And then you've made money on a move that technically would have just done nothing, right? So instead of this being plus 100, this will now be plus 40, plus 100, plus 100, plus 60 in this case. So plus 200, right? So it's like you go back and forth. And also, similarly, let's say you have, this is what I did on XRP, if any of you saw this week. So just take a few images or just take a look at the Discord section. Price is moving like this. I had this area, and this area. Price came here, nothing. Price came here, I took a buy. Then price broke. Now when it broke, I did not have a stop loss here. My stop loss was here. But what I did is the second this broke, I took a sell here with a stop loss here. That sell never got partial. They went down a little bit. It never even came to this point. It just came like that and then went higher. The second it came here, I took -1. But the buy was still open. And then the buy came here and I partialed at plus 2.5. Okay, so that's plus 1.25, which means my overall on it was 0.25 plus, but I was able to stay in the buy because I hedged the position. So if it kept going lower, I would have taken profits of this sell here, right? But instead, it took me out and then went higher. And then what did it do? You guys all saw it, right? And that means that this buy was able to actually run all this instead of being taken out here. That's what hedging can look like. So hopefully that made a little bit of sense. We can talk about that in the future as well. I have no problem with that. How long have we been running? Just got in. Yeah, we've been running quite a bit. I think it's like, yeah, we're about an hour and 20 minutes. So I do want to kind of, oh wow, oh shit, you guys sent this a while back. I must have missed so much. Section 1, Structure 4 is awesome. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate that. Anton, I totally get that. Some days everything I touch is gold, and some days I'm like, how dare you taking trades? Or how are you taking trades? Yeah, exactly, bro. This is very normal. Sometimes you just gotta walk away from charts a little bit. Go ride a bike or something. First time I ever watched Anton on public YouTube, I was like, what the fuck is this guy even on about? Yeah, exactly. This is why we put the stuff before. My brain farted. Yeah, there you go, man. I asked it before, but like, at what point has a trade moved too far? I think I answered that a second ago. I'm sure he has said it before it runs to your target before triggering. Yeah, that too. Any ETA on section 4? So I think I kind of answered that a little bit. We're just working in and around it. And I'll let you guys know when I have solidified a proper thing that I want to attack with you guys for that section, okay? Should be getting 100k views. Your content is amazing. It is what it is, bro. We're growing slowly but steadily. Actually, we've been growing really quick. I shouldn't be even saying that. We're growing really quickly, however, linearly and steadily, which is great. And you guys are a fantastic help for that. And I appreciate all the help I've gotten from all of you guys and the support, of course. Matrix trading, I called anything below the 1 minute low. Soon you're gonna be wondering why you're not on the 15-second charts, man. Which is simple maths, really. Yeah, I like the 50%. Yeah, 50% is nice. What are the lines with ticks or X's? Oh, very simple. A tick is a mitigation of a supply zone. Okay, as you can see, I just don't like to have them all drawn out because if I did, my charts would look a little something like this, right? I'll just get too confused. My texts are just so I can see it. It's visually easier, and the X's are structure breaks. So if we go to the monthly, right, structure break. That's all. And if you guys want to know my actual expectation on gold, here it is. I'm thinking pull back either to here or here, and then much higher prices. Now, on a very, very low probabilistic chance, but still possible, I'll pull back below the liquidity here, and then a continuation higher. So if prices ever did get here, I'd literally just switch my entire bankroll to fucking gold. But, you know, the odds of that happening are really low. You have a video on Fibonacci? No. You know why? Because we don't use this shit. I'm actually going to make a video on Fib, just to attract some retail. But, and I'm just going to say the best line on the Fibs is the 50%. That's it. Because this is the only line you need, because what it shows you is where basically a dynamic number of orders might be lying, especially if it's within a demand zone, right? Because then you know where most mitigation can take place. Okay, 50% is the only level you need. We don't use fibs. We're not structured traders. We're not impulse structured traders or big pullback traders. We see that with our eyes. We watch and we understand price. We don't need to use a 60%, a 70%, or whatever. You can. There's ways to make it work, and you can make it work with smart money, of course. There's many smart money people that do it on ICT, right? So you can fully do that if you want to, but I don't use fibs at all here. You fibs, yeah. Okay, mentfx block top or bottom. Yep. 382 is also common. Yeah, you guys can use whatever you want. 0.69 is the most profitable. I think that's true. How did you calculate what time frame to go on? The 30 rule. Modest Phillips, you'll watch this once it's uploaded, and I go over the rule of 30s in depth. The rule of 30. Your time frame divided by 30. Yes. Now you guys all know. You all know now. I watched the pattern manually through all time frames like an idiot. Can you do a video on counter trading? 100%. But it's a lot like the zone trading like I basically spoke about here. But yeah, we'll definitely have videos on this and we'll talk about it in the future. When you move to BE, do you actually move it to exactly BE or slightly above? I account for commission. So I do sometimes get stopped out a little bit by that. Other times I'll just do straight up BE. If it hasn't moved enough, I'll just go straight BE and take on the commission as risk, which is fine because I might have secured enough on the partial, right? This is kind of up to you, but to be perfectly honest with you, I usually move it just above commissions. That gold trade was great. We both took it at the same time, same partials too. Beautiful. That's what I like to hear. Fantastic. There's no counter trading. You just trade lower time frame structure. Exactly. But we can, of course, make videos on that to talk about it because, I mean, technically, selling here, even though it's a bearish market, is counter trading, right? But also, it's not. It's price trading. We're no rush. Keep dropping gems. When's the meme of the week? We already got that meme of the week. Can we get an EU analysis for the week? Let's just look at yours. I'll talk about it for a little bit, and we'll see what's happening. So don't forget, we have equal highs here. Just looking at this really quickly. Don't forget that there are equal highs here, and I do want to see those taken out. I do not. There's a good chance that we do hold this at this area here. If we do see distribution properly, I can expect price to more likely than not make its way for here, but more likely, much higher probability here. So of course you understand partially along the way, because there will be buys available here and here, especially since we're at the start of the week. I do think we want to take out these lows. However, if we don't, I do see us going to make new highs above these equal highs here. I think I have this area marked up as well. Nothing too crazy there. We can take a look at my chart very quickly, just for the sake of explanation. Let's go to a 4-hour. Yeah, so overall, nothing has really changed. I was looking for a counter trend sell when this was coming up, I believe, from these points here, but there was never any opportunity. It just kind of shot right through, so that was fine. Fantastic. We're up in this zone now. On a lower time frame might be breaking down, but honestly, I do want to see these get taken out. I do think we will see them taken out. As you can see, still relatively bullish on it, expecting prices to at least come and fill the areas up here or up here before we either continue way higher to the supply zones up here, or come to start taking out the liquidity below this low back in November. And then I do see prices just, you know, we're going to maybe see another very, very long-term down move down to here, if that is to occur the way we were talking about it, right? Because again, we are at a weekly or a monthly level right now. Whoops. We are at this weekly and monthly level. Again, I'm treating this as minor liquidity. I do think that a lot of commercial banks, a lot of like institutions that are not smart money are getting involved in buys here, expecting new highs. Now they might be right. However, I do think the composite man sees all the fucking liquidity here and wants to grab it, at least to get below it. So I do believe that price wants to get below it. So if anything, this and then anything is valid in here for this to occur. Do want to get down here. Why? It was like a 3-month. Yeah, it's like this supply zone. If anything, right, you can increase this zone to this. That's what I want to see filled. So hopefully you guys can see why I'm doing that. And again, why are we rejecting here? We just hit the supply zone, right? So there were great sells up here if any of you saw that or remember that. But that's generally the outlook on it for the week. Like I said, if I do start to see it break down, maybe I'll look for sells into these zones here. However, overall, I do want to see these highs be ran. That's the most important thing for me. I'll take the L if I just see this kind of just break down through all lows. I don't want to see this break down like that right now. I do still want to see it get above. I don't think this is the prerogative right now. It can be because we are at this ment block or this overall supply zone. And if this does distribute properly or well enough, it gets below these lows here, we could see it come all the way down there. But my bias specifically right now would be seeing these areas met here. That's all I want to see met. And how we're going to do that is going to just basically be based on the way price moves. Right now, right before week close, it was mitigating this last supply zone. So that's why we're seeing, demand zone, sorry. That's why we're seeing this bullish move up. And it came to fill in this supply zone here. So we're just caught in this mini little range right here. Just kind of filling in orders. Probably going to create a few stuff over Sunday when market opens. Actually, it's probably open already. And then we either go to finally liquidate all this or we come lower, maybe look for sells somewhere in here down into these zones because on lower time frames there's going to be a lot of opportunity here to then either continue taking out all this liquidity or to do that. Okay, so that's my overall bias on EU, but I'm not trading EU too much. I'm mostly looking at gold now a lot, but I'll keep my eyes open for EU and definitely ping me in the Discord whenever you see something develop of any sort, and I'll definitely want to take a look. No better feeling when you do trade and watch group like someone post same entry. Yeah, very true, very true. Unless it loses, yeah. But then you guys take it together. Have you heard of the market maker method? If so, what do you think about it with Wyckoff? Well, I don't use other people's methods. I don't trade like other people. We trade the mentfx way here. So that's pretty much it for me. I'm sure, like I said, any way can work, but we trade mentfx version here purely, for the most part. What time frames you spend more time in? Do you often use minute 15 demand or supply zones? No. I mean, I use all of them. I literally can't tell you. The one I spend the most time in, probably 1 minute or the 30-second, because I'm watching those for Wyckoff, so I spend the most time watching them. But other than that, no. I use 15-minute demand or supply zones all the time, though, yes. I also use 5-minute ones. I also use 30-minute ones and 1-hour ones. It all just depends on how price is moving, how it's creating price action, what it's leaving behind, and where the highest likelihood in my mind of unmitigated orders are going to be mitigated, right? We need lower time frames on trading view. The 1 second is enough. Yeah, I know, right? Oh, fuck, Mazon, you crease me. Go back and watch it until you find a perfect explanation. Explains it again anyway. My bad. No voice, is it only me, guys? Alright, you guys hear me. Thank God. If it went out, I'd be really sad. But at least it's being recorded, so all of you will have it after the fact anyway. You never take the trade once the price hits for the first time. I always wait for the confirmation, even if you see Wyckoff on the first touch. If I see Wyckoff on the first touch, I'll still take it. That's fine. Especially if that was one of my points of interest, right? If I then see it come back and test it again, then there could be an opportunity there as well. Also, we can delete this red thing real quick. Hey, buddy. My dog's getting a little aggravated. I gotta get to him soon. Bro, that example being laid out just blew my mind. I love being new at shit. Was it the Ment block stuff? I don't remember which one I looked at. I looked at so much. That shit makes me want to get to the second charts now. Oh, when we looked at that thing, yeah. Same. Looking for spending all money on trading views to get better. Subscribe, yeah. If you can keep getting free trials, if don't 6 trials now. I love the double MB type of trading right now. I'm backtesting the shit out of that from POIs, and it keeps me out of trades I would have taken via Wyckoff. Yeah, definitely. You can literally formulate an entire strategy around mentfx blocks fully. We gave it a name because it actually does. It does something different in the market that I guess I haven't seen anybody ever talk about. So it's its own way of entry. Sometimes a mentfx block, a double mentfx block will almost always line up with Wyckoff, but Wyckoff will not always line up with a double mentfx block, which is why, if anything, it's almost a better Wyckoff, you know? But also, sometimes double mentfx block means that you won't get an opportunity to get involved, right? Which is why I still use I use Wyckoff the way I use it. You can get C-Trader for free, and then you get tick charts. Yeah, exactly. Like the 30 tick chart is the same as like a 15-second chart, so you can do that too. Bud. I've got the pro version already, but it's a few hundred more. Yeah, it's crazy how much it costs. Can you look at XRP? I think we just looked at it. It's going up. No big deal. Like, still looking for pullbacks for buys. Pullbacks for buys. Same thing as Bitcoin since like fucking how long? Like 2 or 3 months ago, right? I think I made a video. I made it private. I'm not sure if I still have it out. But if you guys did watch it, I just basically said we're bullish on this. I don't know why people are bearish. I think people that think it was bearish were just doing it for like news sakes. Doesn't matter. We saw it bullish. We kept printing bullish, and lo and behold, we hit like 60k, right? So we must be doing something right. If a supply zone is pierced through and price creates Wyckoff, then it does not matter. You do not use it, because think about why you're using a zone like that. You're using a zone like that because you're seeing orders that you're expecting to be held there. If that zone is getting taken out, then what that means is either we're completely shifting structure, 2, we're either shifting order flow, or 3, that order flow isn't going to hold. So why would you trade the buys, right? It's invalidated. Exactly. You don't use it. Can you do another video on daily process? Of course. Yes. FTMO, Euro, US. Well, based on the fact that Euro, or based on the fact that the Euro to the dollar chart, I'm expecting it to come all the way back down into here. I'd say US now. But once it gets here, get Euro accounts, because the Euro will be worth more. Vetsky with a shout out. Yeah, Vetsky's killing it. Vetsky's great. Win-win scenario. What's up, dude? All right, I think we're good. We're good. Let's see, making sure I got everybody's question laid out. Just reading through this really quick. What is your low rank? I'm unranked right now because I'm toxic. Did you already talk about mentfx blocks? Yes, I did. We will just rewatch this when it's done. Never threw those 3 letters here. You got a couple tally marks today. I'm sorry, bud. Market's back open. Beautiful. You guys are gonna kill it. Or at least kill it on the back tests, because, you know, unless you know what you're doing, you shouldn't be trading. And if you do know what you're doing, you should be killing it. Gotta go, guys. Thank you. Yeah, see you, man. My view on EU, let's take a quick look. 1 hour, looking for that area or this area. Similarly, I agree. I think I'm looking at this area. I'm not looking at this lower one, but that's great as well. Looking for those higher prices to be met. I believe in that too. But again, just because this is a bias does not mean it's fully correct. So always be mindful. Always be open to new biases, because a bias, it does not control price. Price controlled by the big guys, and we use the footprints. We are nothing but little fucking anemones on the sharks, or whatever they're called, the little fishies. FYI, beat the market maker method no longer works consistently. That's why I'm here. I think, are they the ones with indicators? If they are, then yeah, I think I know what you're talking about, but I don't use them. Did you go over that today? Over what? Maybe. I might have. What's the correlation between, mentfx block? Then yeah, maybe. Between double MB and Wyckoff. When double MB occurs, it usually occurs because of liquidations, right? Because if you think about what's actually occurring at a double MB, think about this just really quickly. You have, let's just do this. Price is coming down, right? Makes a low of some sort, then breaks higher, right? Tests it, breaks higher. That's a double MB break. This in itself is a liquidation, continuations, and tests and continuations, right? And then you're just looking for it to continue. On the other hand, that's where you wouldn't have really Wyckoff. But on the other hand, if price is coming down and making lows, right? Like so, still no mentfx block, still no mentfx block, maybe even something like this. This is a validation of the first one, waiting for a second. Doesn't get validated, then it gets validated. Waiting for a second one, validated. What does that look like to you, right? Wyckoff. So sometimes a double ment block is all you need to see the Wyckoff. And sometimes you don't even need the Wyckoff and you're good. Anton, you're the man, bro. Thank you. Gotta take off. Thank you, buddy. See you next week, or see you over the week. Can you please explain double MB again? I think I just hit that up real nice. Hopefully that made sense. Anton, you can leave now. Thanks, guys. Let's eat. Can you please zoom a little on XRP? I haven't really looked too much at XRP anymore after the weekend, but overall I was expecting buys from this point right here. So that's already been hit though. Let's take a look at what we can expect. I was looking at buys from here, and we just had that hit. We're trading higher. If you want, you can technically say we just create a ment block. We can maybe make a second, right? And then you can trade the buys here to go higher. You can on demo, not on a real account. Do not sue me, fuckers. Respect. Okay. Well, that pretty much ends webinar 5. Hopefully you guys learned something. Can you top down? I just did a mini top down talk about Euro USD and gold throughout the thing, right? But I'll do an entire top down, just like a video. I'll do a whole video for you guys just on private top down at some point this week or next. Okay, I'll just have that uploaded for you guys. I'll probably drop it in the live trading, because that makes sense. You do more top down, yeah, of course. And again, like I said, we're gonna do more weekly forecasts when we start to have these sessions on the weekends too. Loving the millionaire blocks. Hey, buddy, it's cement block. All right, I'm gonna sue your ass now. All right, thanks, guys. There's about 80 people in here, so everyone's like funneling out. I'll see you guys throughout this week. Hope you have a profitable one, and it was great talking to you guys. Peace.